Okay, you might know them. You might just not remember them. Either that or you don't know them, and now you do. There's no theme to episode number 3, so let's just jump right into it. Ah!
Number 10.
Solitude from Vesperian Sorrow, an Austin, Texas-based symphonic black metal band. This from an album, Psychotic Sculpture, from 2001, meaning it's 14 years old. This is the closing track from the album, nearly 10 minutes of symphonic black metal bliss. However, instead of focusing highly on the traditional black metal themes, this is a band that looks toward the stars and has a lot of cosmic lyricism based around their music. This is a great track mainly because it showcases the atmospheric elements of this genre while also showing that if you build and build and build a track using the building blocks of each particular movement and then bringing the whole thing together at the end, you can truthfully make a fantastic song that is worthy of exploration. This is a very circular style song with an introduction that fades into the outro later on in the effort. Really, really like this song. These guys are criminally underrated. Their last album came 3 years ago in 2012. Check this song and this band out.
Number 9.
And the Mirror Cracked by Disillusion. If you ever thought if progressive melodic death metal could be a thing, this could be the band that could show you that it very well could have been. And there are definitely bands out there that could perfect the genre easily. This is off of an album entitled Back to Times of Splendor from 2004, making this album 11 years old. A lot of teenage albums so far on this end of the list. This is a nearly 8-minute long track. It is the opening chapter to a complex story that is presented on this disc, and it's nothing short of fantastic. This is an album that also contains a couple of 10-minute plus long songs and really presents a great storyline. Really love the fact that this is not a band that just needs to rely on the principalities of heavy metal in order to get their point across. They also have some heavily symphonic arrangements, including a great piano piece that's right in the middle of this track. Don't just check out this song from Disillusion, check out the entire body of work that is on this album, and you will understand why it's considered to be legendary in the heavy metal universe.
Number 8.
We don't typically do cover songs on these lists, but this is one that's particularly excellent. Porpoise song, as executed by the band Trouble off their 1995 album Plastic Green Head. This classic monkey song has been covered by a plethora of other great artists, both in the metal and non-metal universe, including Django, and you will know us by The Trail of Dead, Glass Hammer, and Bong Water. This is a great track for Trouble specifically, considering where they came from in the early 1980s. Originally one of the bands that were starting to perfect the doom metal genre after bands such as Black Sabbath kind of started to fade into the sunset a bit. This is a band that in the 1990s really started to rock out and jam, and Porpoise song certainly showcased this with its lengthy guitar solo that you hear near the end of it. Very much a dueling guitar battle, so to speak. This song is excellent, not to mention Plastic Green Head is kind of an underrated gem by this group in general, full of rich riffing and just fantastic moments all around. Certainly check this one out.
Number 7.
It's hard to believe how old this next song is, but maybe that's just me showing my age. This song is 22 years old. Earth Mother, the Sun, and the Furious Host by the band Skyclad. Off of their early 1990s album Jonah's Ark, this is a band that showcases what folk metal would later become, giving it a little bit more of a harder edge. This whole entire album is filled with fantastic lyricism with some tongue-in-cheek humor, but also a lot of great references, and this is one that is a lyrical bliss so much as it is also a musical one. This entire band kind of goes underneath the radar of a lot of the newer metal folk who are obsessed with bands such as Isopherum, either that or Corpiclani, but forget to traverse the past to look at bands such as Skyclad. This is certainly one to check out, and I highly endorse not only this album, but also this track. If you really want to find this, it's pretty easy to locate on YouTube, but at the same time, you could probably find a copy of Jonah's Ark available by somebody either on Amazon or on eBay. Definitely do this, it is well worth it.
Number 6.
Most of us, whenever we say the term Paradise Lost, think of either the classic band, either that or the John Milton work, and I think more people will be posed to think of the latter. However, the song Mercy off of their album 1 Second, the band that is, not John Milton, is a curious one, and mainly because this is an album where you see a lot more of the gothic metal subculture, while you also hear tones that would perhaps be reminiscent of a band such as Depeche Mode. This is a track that I think is overlooked by a lot of people, not to mention a lot more folks seem to focus more highly on Paradise Lost's more recent releases or some of their elder tomes, some of the initial albums, kind of ignoring 1 Second a bit, considering it is exceptionally different from many other elements of their discography. But Mercy has a very catchy chorus, it's got great songwriting included within it, almost as though this was built to be a Paradise Lost single. If you really want some bonus points, also check out the live cover of this song done by Orphaned Land. It has a little bit more of a folky charm to it, and it is excellent.
Number 5.
Fans rejoiced when Bruce Dickinson rejoined Iron Maiden and they released the successful comeback album Brave New World, but very few people wondered what happened to Blaze Bayley after his departure. And the answer to that question is that he started a pretty successful yet kind of underground solo career filled with albums such as Silicon Messiah, The 10th Dimension, and Blood and Belief. Now, these two tracks, Meant to Be and The Truth Revealed, and actually switched that, The Truth Revealed / Meant to Be, appeared on The 10th Dimension and really showcased that Blaze had not only a really unique voice, but also had a great penchant for songwriting, something that was perhaps not utilized to its best nature during his Iron Maiden years. These songs have a lot of heart behind them, and it seems like there is an internal struggle that is occurring while the lyricism is occurring. I love the way in which the band is able to cascade around Blaze's words and really paint an accurate picture of inner turmoil. And that's what makes this song definitely worthy of your exploration. And really, whenever you look at his overall body of solo work, it's not as bad as some people may paint it to be. It's actually a very strong discography. One that might take a little bit of digesting, considering the Iron Maiden years may still be fresh in your mind, and let's face it, Virtual 11 was just kind of a meh album, but whenever you consider Blaze's solo work, it's great.
Number 4.
Many people wondered after the fall of Candlemass in the early 1990s what would happen to its membership, if they would go on to help other projects or create new ones. For two of the members, they created their new project entitled Abstrakt Algebra and released an album in 1995. The self-titled song, Abstrakt Algebra, is one of the highlights off of that album and showcases their unique blend of power metal alongside of doom metal in a curious concoction that didn't really resonate with a lot of people. The project was seen largely as a failure, to the point where there was material for a second album that was actually constructed and recorded, but didn't see the light of day until 2008, when it was included as a bonus disc on a re-release of a Candlemass album that would materialize in 1998. Did you get all that? However, if you wanted to see further experimentation with essentially the same idea that Abstrakt Algebra was going for, the band Crux would also be for you, considering it's essentially the same lineup with some curious differences that's trying to do similar ideas but has a little bit more of a root in the doom metal genre. Either way, check these guys out. This is definitely kind of an underappreciated gem.
Number 3.
Trinity Broadcasting, Know Your Enemy by Vehemence. This is off of their final studio album in 2004. For now, supposedly they are working on new material that just has not yet materialized here in 2015. It's a shame that this album is 11 years old and doesn't have a follow-up, because it really seemed as though this band was really starting to go places. This was an exceptional slab of death metal, and this song certainly showcased their ability not only to craft some pretty crazy lyricism behind some excellent execution. This isn't your typical run-of-the-mill death metal album that kind of goes with the same idea 11 or 12 times and slaps the album sticker on it. There was definitely some variety on here, including a softer number entitled Alone in Her Presence. And also, this contains probably one of my favorite songs of all time from the band, Kill for God. In fact, that was the song that got me into the band as a whole. But this is a great track that executes everything that this band was good at, and did so very well. Shortly after the band dissolved in 2005, 3 of the members went on to become the first live version of the band Abigail Williams, so they're still around in the music universe. It's not as though Vehemence completely dissipated from the planet. However, if they would have continued as Vehemence and perhaps incorporated some of what it would eventually become Abigail Williams' stuff, who knows what might have happened.
Number 2.
Maudlin of the Well and K.O. Dodd are among 2 of my favorite bands of all time, so whenever one of their members decided that he was going to do his own project entitled Baliset, I definitely had to get my hands on it. What was cool about it was that the gentleman actually contacted me, and we've had a conversation or 2 ever since. He actually sent me a copy of this album, A Time for Rust, that features the song Black Light Moon. This is probably my favorite track off of this release. It's one that's extremely soft, very harmonious, has a lot of undertones of kind of romance that may not even be the real genuine article whenever it comes to what the song is about, but damned if it doesn't give me some of those happy, wishy-washy feelings that you get as a man that sometimes succumbs to the feelings of love. But overall, this track is just magnificent. You can definitely hear just various decades of music within this work, whether it be within the 70s rock progressive vocals that you can hear, or some of the composition which could accompany just about any decade of progressive music, and then certain avant-garde touches that you've heard with bands that Massey's been previously associated with. This is a pretty rare album. It's one that you should definitely seek out. You can find a lot of this material around the internet if you check it out. But Greg also, I believe, is still a pretty receptive cat, so if you're looking for a copy of this and are willing to part with a couple of bucks for it, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to get you one if he still has any. This is a fantastic album by a fantastic side project, and I'm hoping that soon we get a second one.
Number 1.
From a Hadron Machinist by Alkaloid. This is a 2015 song from a 2015 album who's going to get a full review very shortly on this channel. But Alkaloid is important considering they contain members of an all-star lineup from bands that we have talked about extensively: Obscura, Dark Fortress, and Necrophagist. Now, this song, along with the remainder of the album, is just a phenomenal mix of progressive metal with death metal and technical overtones, really showcasing all of the different styles that have been able to come together in order to fuse this album, which has already been hailed by many as a masterpiece. This is a great track because it's not one that feels the need to be perfectly and totally linear. It instead has the ability and desire to deviate and really showcase all of the capabilities of its membership while also still feeling very cohesive and not disjointed. Overall, I have a feeling that this is going to be not only a review, but an album that will easily be one of the highlights of 2015, at least the first half. So definitely check that out whenever it comes, and trust me, it's coming soon. But for now, check out From a Hadron Machinist and immerse yourself in this strange new world. Well, that will do it for us here on 10 Awesome Songs. Please like and subscribe and all of that fun stuff. And do tell your friends about this, considering I can tell that you're not the only one who's looking for great new music out there that you may not have known about. You should definitely share it with them so they can find some great new music as well, and you'll have something to talk about collectively as a friendship. We're all about peace here, even though we're listening to destruction.